Fmax update. It was spicy. I think the last thing that we talked about on this truck was going through and putting the transmission into it. Obviously, we have done a good bit of stuff since then. I did as much of the driveline stuff as I could, and then we ended up going down to Nick's Burnout Vance place and going through and actually finishing up like the wiring and some of the other miscellaneous things that we needed to get done, like seat belts and stuff like that. So we did a ton of work in not a whole bunch of time. And then of course we went on sick week, and we, like I said, we partied really hard with this thing. Day one kind of sucked. Day zero, tech day, we were able to go through. Somehow we got through tech without any issues. Day one, we made it into the staging lanes with the truck. We'd already driven around at the track. We'd done a whole bunch of miscellaneous things. As soon as we made it into the staging lanes, the old AN lines that we had on the Air Dog, one of them decided to leak. It wasn't the one that we replaced with the shocker fittings. It was the old fittings, and it decided to leak right there in the middle of the staging lanes. So I might have crashed out a little bit on day one, as we had to go and just make that entire line from the tank to the Air Dog. Thankfully, we had all shocker stuff to be able to replace it with. Once we got all the shocker stuff onto it, worked flawlessly. We were able to go down the track. Had no tuning in it. Had a base tune that I thrown in it a long time ago. We got a 15 out of it, which, just to be able to put a number down, that was pretty important to us. At the end of day one, we realized that the limiting slip in the back of this thing really wasn't limiting anything. We had a one tire fire, which obviously wasn't going to work for burnouts or drag racing. So on day two, we made a quick pass. We got a 14 out of it, and we went straight to welding this thing up.
We are welding up the diff, because tomorrow's a drive day and we want to do some burnouts, and the single legger is not going to cut it.
Which led into day two of me crashing out, because we could get the carrier out of it, no problems asked. And then once the carrier was out of it, you have to have a case spreader to be able to spread the case far enough to be able to get the center trunk back into it. We did not have that at the track, and the world's biggest hammer was not there. We had the little Tykes toy hammer knocking this back end into it. So it took like 2 hours for me to pull it out, weld it up, and then it took like 5 hours for me to be able to go through and slam this thing back into it. It was miserable on day two. Day three, it was a drive day, and because we finally had that rear end welded up, we were able to go and do a whole bunch of burnouts. Which put a smile on my face. It still needed a lot more tuning done to it, but we did pretty good for day three. So we did the drive day, everything went pretty good then. Day four, we finally did a little bit of tuning. We cracked off a 12-second pass on this deal. And it was pretty good for day three, day four, whichever day it was. I don't remember. There was a lot of stuff that was happening. Day five, we did a little bit more tuning on this deal. We got this thing into the bottom 12s, running 115 mile an hour in the quarter. And then, of course, day six, the very last day, we did some more tuning on it, and we forgot to plug the ignition deal back in. So this fuse right here, the one that is still missing to this day, is our quote-unquote ignition fuse. It turns on the pumps for the intercooler, the fans for the intercooler, the fans for the transcoolers, and all the other miscellaneous stuff. Like, it's responsible for a lot of things. Doesn't matter when you're going through and tuning the truck, so we unplug it to make sure that the battery isn't being drained while we're tuning the truck. Well, we went through and we tuned the truck on, I believe, Saturday morning, and as soon as I got done tuning the truck, it was to the lanes, and I never put that fuse back in. So we went all the way up to the lanes, did a burnout, locked the thing in four-wheel drive, and ran down the track with no intercooler pumps, no intercooler fans, no trans fans, no engine fans, nothing. And as such, we ended up popping the intercooler because there was just too much heat and not enough cooling to be going through it. There was no pump to be able to have pressure on the backside of the intercooler. A lot of boost, stock intercooler. It cracked the cooler. We knew it was going to happen.
96 model F-150, and it is, he's doing his best to make sure I can't see the right-hand side scoreboard. 12:19 at 111 for the diesel.
And I mean, you can see just how bowed out the side of that intercooler is now. And I mean, here is the engine bay basically in the final state that it ended up in. We have discovered that we've got an issue with our tensioner over here coming off of the belt groove, and that's just where she ends up sitting at. But other than that, though, I mean, this whole combo has been pretty rock solid. Yeah, here's kind of an idea of what we got done. We got our little air filter deal put onto here. I don't know if that's really good to have the filter right next to the radiator, but it is what it is. Obviously the hood stack was a pretty important thing to this whole operation. HSP charge pipe boots, let me tell you, them things never checked up. And of course, we've got the billet HSP manifolds on the side of this thing, and then of course custom 2-inch inside diameter up pipes from HSP, and I had those things glowing red hot. I mean, we're not talking a little bit of red, a little bit of orange. No, it was red hot as the candle was lit up out of the hood stack. It was a lot of pressure, and them up pipes, they ain't cracked or nothing else. You got to give HSP a lot of credit where it's due, and they earned it there with that. I don't know exactly what's going on there. I think our stainless might be rusting. And then of course we put the cap visor on this deal, which worked out really good until day one, where I cracked the cap visor and I had to JB weld the side of it back in place to be able to make sure she'd hold on for the week. Somehow though, she held on for an entire week of going 115 in the quarter mile, and then of course a good couple of freeway pulls. That cap visor is a trooper, because it should definitely not be on there anymore. I am not sure what happened to the hood, but the hood is now very bent. That was a development of the last day where we finally put this thing into 4-wheel drive. We left with it. I told Nick, if it wheel hops or something, stay in it, don't lift. And boy, did my boy listen to me. He did not lift. I mean, this thing spun all 4 tires all the way down to the 60 foot. It shook violently, and I think that is why the hood is now bent, is from just how much it was moving around and shaking. And these quote-unquote frames, if you want to call them that, are like a flex frame, so they flex around a whole bunch. And I imagine, as you know, it was just doing all kinds of weird 4-wheel drive stuff, moving around, it bent the hood. So that's to be expected. Surprisingly, this 4-wheel drive deal that uses the factory radius arms, all of this stuff, the factory OBS springs, all the other miscellaneous things, it worked out flawlessly for the entire week. I mean, we haven't used any kits or anything else to be able to put this stuff in here. It is all just, what is this, 08 Super Duty stuff. So any of your 06 to present Super Duty stuff will bolt right into your OBS Ford, and then you can go run sick week and do 4-wheel drive burnouts. I mean, we've literally got the factory track bar in this deal, and then of course the factory linkage and everything. It's all factory stuff. There's no kit that we used. And it sits at a good height too, so like, you know, the front end basically matches where the rear end is at. I don't know if we showed it in the last video, but we did end up switching to the Sterling 10.5. We got rid of the 10.25 that I was worried about, new drive shaft, stuff like that. The rear end honestly worked pretty good. Happy with it for right now. I don't think when we turn this thing up a whole bunch that rear end is going to live, but it's living for right now, and that's perfectly fine with me. In conclusion, we got an entire week's worth of beating out on this thing. It took it like a champ. The only reason why we ended up having an issue with it is because we forgot to put the fuse back in it, and that's what ended up killing this thing. If we had put that fuse back into the intercooler and had the pumps and all the other stuff on, I would imagine this thing would be perfectly fine. Obviously we didn't. We heard it. Makes sense. Potato, potato. Going forwards with this build, it is going to sit out here on the farm where it was left from sick week 2025. Now it gets to sit on a nice trailer instead of where it was before. Once I find some tires for the 20s, we'll put it back on that, put it back onto the dirt. I don't want to put the radials in the dirt for right now, but it's going to sit out here because we're going to go through the injection system. So it's got an extra G14 mil in it. Seen a lot of burnouts, seen a lot of street miles. This is probably the most abused extra G14 mil to ever exist, and I'm proud to be able to hold that record. But we want to pull that 14 mil out, send it to extra G, go through, make sure that it is healthy. I believe that we might have had some issues with it from some shenanigans we did. And then same thing for the injectors. I don't know the health of the injectors. I like to go through, get them checked out. I want to change the injection system in this deal anyways, which is why we're doing it. So we want to go to a different style pump, different style injectors, probably going to freshen the engine up because there is a lot of oil underneath this thing. So I would like to go through, clean up all the oil and everything else, make sure that we have a healthy motor before we take it back out. I want to look at the bearings. I want to look at the pistons because I'm pretty sure we scuffed some pistons in this deal. And yeah, the transmission in this thing has been rock solid. Very happy with that. We got that FTI converter in there, and then of course we got some clutches from Brad Sankey, K&D Services. And then the only thing I might change in that deal is go to some billet input shafts and some billet output shafts, billet shafts in general. Stock shaft deal right now, which an Allison stock shaft really isn't that big of a deal. Wouldn't really think twice about going and dynoing this thing to like 1,000 horse. But when you're doing 4-wheel drive burnouts and it's hopping and skipping a whole bunch, you're going to break some stuff pretty quick. So going forwards, I'm going to start collecting parts for this thing. Obviously, we're going to have to strip it down. We got to take the pump out of it, injectors out of it, got to rework the engine, do some other shenanigans. There's a lot of stuff to do. I'm guessing it'll probably take us 2, 5, 10 years to be able to actually go through and get it to, I guess, what we're going to call version 2. Right now, this is version 1, runs, drives, stated steel. Version 2, we're going to turn it up a whole bunch more. We're going to go to a lot more shenanigan style stuff, and it'll be fun. But to be able to get there, it's going to take time to be able to stockpile the parts that we need to be able to do what we want, and then of course fabricate what we're fixing to do. There's other things that I need to be working on, like the trailer. You know, we kind of rushed to get this trailer done. We never put the marker lights on the side of it. It doesn't have reverse lights. It's the wiring in it is pretty good, but I've already noticed that we are ripping the wires clean out of it. So I'd like to be able to get the wiring a little bit better, get the trailer to be minty fresh. It's pretty good right now. And then I would like to be able to go and finish building the crew cab. We have a whole motor build that we need to do on that deal. And once the crew cab is done, that's what we end up towing the trailer with. So if we've got a tow truck, a trailer, it makes doing the race car stuff a lot easier on us. Shout out to HSP. Like I said, we got their billet manifolds on here, their billet valve covers. We've got the 2-inch up pipes that they welded up just for this deal. And then of course we got their boots on here. FTI, we got that triple disc converter on this deal. Hawk's Diesel Performance. Let me tell you, Cody Hawk he's had a couple late nights as I'm like, hey man, we're fixing to leave, I need these parts, and somehow he manages to come up with that deal. So Hawk's Diesel Performance, dude, I love those boys over there. Air Dog, we've got an Air Dog 220 on this thing. It has kicked butt for years and has never checked up once. It's always been able to keep that 14 mil supplied with good fuel, good clean fuel throughout its life. So definitely big thanks to them. Extra G, like I said, we got the 14 mil on there. We've abused that 14 mil. I'm very curious to send it back to them, open it up, go through it, see what all is done to it. Bless Performance, we got some push rods in this deal from them. We also had a valence for them. The problem with putting the valence on is we had to kind of cut the bumper a lot, and the valence wasn't going to work with the wide tires. So I'm going to circle back to that later at some point in time. Look, we got Excite on this deal. These guys are the ones that go through and do all the stickers and everything for us. And let me tell you, this truck would be way more boring without them. I mean, come on, you can't look at that sticker and just not laugh. That is like the best sticker ever. Not to mention the cool door stickers that are on this thing. I love this logo. It came out fantastic. Of course, we've got all the different brands that we work with, the stickers done for them. The Fmax badges. I mean, these are like some pretty cool badges that they went through and made for me a while back. It's nice to be able to see them on here. They look good. They're the same style framing and everything. It's just, Excite does a lot for us, and I really appreciate the work that they do. I appreciate the work that all of these guys do, because I know sometimes I am a pain in the butt to work with, and I need stuff last minute because I don't think about things. And for the most part, all these companies take care of me. If they can't take care of me, they figure out a way to take care of me. It's pretty wild. So anywho, I think that rant's done. Good companies. Fmax went on sick week, did burnouts. It kind of picked up. It's a 10-second truck. I think we're going to make it run 10s. I don't know how we're going to make it run 10s right now. So sometime in the future, you'll see a video of this thing running 10s. Maybe we put a cage in it to go run 10s. Maybe we just freeball it and get kicked out of the track. So until then, I'll see you later.